Hey, this is Rich O'Neill with Elite Functional Performance here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And for our friends at Charlotte Country Day School, this is going to be exercise video number 8 in your series. I'd like to thank everybody who wrote in and gave us some feedback on the videos that we've done already, involving things they'd like to see in upcoming videos. We're going to take you there a little bit today. We're going to take you through a total body in-home exercise video and workout that you can use with your elastic bands. What we're going to be adding a little bit differently today is something called the metabolic interrupt. Now these interrupts are going to be little blasts of cardio type exercises that we do in increments of time, anywhere from 20 seconds to 40 seconds, or we may count some things out in traditional repetition format like we do with our exercises. When we take you through these and we'll explain how we work them and all that, you can go back and add these in with any of the old workouts at the end of each circuit or between blocks or groups of exercises. These interrupts work great and are very interchangeable with anything that we've done in the past in our videos. Okay, so for the next one, we're gonna get you up on your feet. We've got our elastic band. I'm gonna loop my hands through the handles. Then I'll grab my band with an overhand grip, put a little bit of tension on that band, keep my arms straight, and then just take my arms all the way back over my head and back down to the front of my body. I'm taking my arms back on an inhale and then exhale coming back over. We're using this movement to begin moving the ball from the front of the socket in the shoulder to the back of the socket and really working some mobility deep into the shoulder capsule. We'll be moving through these for 1 to 2 minutes of continuous movement. Okay, now we're gonna take you down to the floor. And here we're gonna work on activating the glutes, the hamstrings, the muscles on the back side of the leg. We're gonna perform a glute bridge. We're gonna make sure our hands are up and our shoulders are in the back of the socket, making contact with the ground. I'm gonna drive my hips to the ceiling by pushing through my heels. It's important to not overarch your back on this. Come down with slow control, trying to make your lower back touch before your butt. We can exhale on the way up. Inhale with slow control down. When you get to the top, you want to make sure that you have a good squeeze in the butt muscles. So you can hold that at the top for a 1 count to make sure that you can feel both sides turn on. We shouldn't have very much stress in the upper spine here. Shoulder blades should be secure against the floor, but without any tension in the neck. We're gonna perform 8 of these. And then come up from there nice and easy. So here I've got my exercise band. I removed the handles and I'm holding the band in an underhand grip. I'm gonna wrap my hands around it and then bring my arms over my head with 90-degree angle of my upper arm to my upper body. With a soft bend in the knee at hip width distance, I'm going to begin folding to the side as we perform an exercise called an overhead side bend. I'm gonna return to starting position and then move to the opposite side. We're gonna do 5 of these each way. The objective here is as I tilt to my right, I wanna feel the left side of my body through the rib cage and the armpit, all the way down to the front side of that hip, getting a little bit lengthened, stretched. I can maximize that stretch by inhaling as I tilt to the side. So big inhale as I go to the side, hold it for a 1 count, bring it back to starting position. We don't want to get too much movement side to side here without stopping in the middle. We want to try to keep the chin out of the chest and maintain an upright spine throughout the entire exercise. All right, so for our next warm-up exercise, we're gonna start with our elastic band. Toes point forward at hip width distance. I'll descend into the squat And when I stand up from there, I'm just gonna pull apart. Call this a squat to pull apart. And you're gonna go back and forth 10 times, alternating directions. All right, now that we've got you warmed up real good, we're gonna begin our work sets. So we'll start our exercises today with our elastic band and our high anchor attachment. If you got any questions about how to set up the door anchor from your exercise band kit, please refer back to our first video where we do an entire segment about how to get the door anchor secure at each level. We're gonna begin with that high anchor point, and we're gonna come down into a kneeling position here. So you can see I've got what we would call a balance pad, about a 2 or 3 inch thick pad here that I can use to put on the hard rubber floor so I can kneel down and have some protection for my knees. At home, you can use either a folded over yoga mat, or you can use a pillow, or even just kind of pull a rug back so you've got a little bit of extra pressure off the knees there. For this first exercise, once we've got into the tall kneel position and I've taken the arch out of the lower back, I'm gonna raise my field of vision toward that high anchor. And then from here, I'm gonna perform an exercise called a reverse fly, where I just pull my hands back alongside my body, squeezing my shoulder blades together, and then return to starting position. You're gonna do 10 of these in a row, moving from that high to low position with the arms. So we'll start with the arms at shoulder level, looking up, and then I'll pull the arms down and finish with my hands below shoulder level, back. We're moving with a slow, controlled tempo here for 10 reps. Okay, so for our next exercise from our high band attachment site, we're gonna continue from our tall kneeling position. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna turn the handle so that it can kind of move into a more vertical position. I'll just pull that handle through a little bit so that now I'm kind of grabbing with my hands more upright. From that tall kneeling position, I'm gonna pull my hands in alongside my rib cage and squeeze my shoulder blades against the spine. We're gonna call this exercise a tricep kickback. So from here, I'm just gonna pull my hands down and extend my elbows and then come back to starting position. Keeping your core tight, you're gonna do 10 of these in a row. So we'll keep the upper body rigid and try to just move the lower portion of the arm from the elbow to the wrist. Exhale as you push the arms down. Inhale back to starting position. All right, so for our first metabolic interrupt, we're gonna work with frontal plane, which means we're gonna move side to side. We call this one skater jumps, and this is gonna work on our balance as well as on our stability. So we're gonna move to a position where I take one foot off the ground. So you can see I've shifted my weight onto my left leg for stability. Now from here, I'm gonna get my weight back in my booty here by pushing my heel down into the ground on my left foot. I'll get my arms set, and then I'll bring my arms across as I hop and land on that side, maintaining stability and balance in the core as well as in the hip on that right leg. Then I'll take my arms and come back over to the other side, back and forth. So I don't want to go too rapid fire here. I really want to see the control upon landing before I move back into the next rep. So we're really focusing on balancing with the core, balancing with the foot, making stability as soon as that foot lands. And for this one, we're gonna move back and forth for 40 seconds. So you can put your phone on the floor in front of you, set the timer, and then hop, hop. Back and forth 40 seconds with control. Skater jumps. Now you can fill these in at the end of any circuit that you do. A circuit would be defined as anywhere from 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 exercises in a grouping. You can complete one set of each of those exercises and then do a set of skater jumps and then rest. So the interrupts can come at the back end of the session or at the back end of the circuit to represent a little bit more of that heart rate increase before you begin the next circuit. All right, so for our next series of exercises, we're going to move the band down to our mid-level attachment. Mid-level for us is going to be somewhere around waist height, somewhere between maybe waist height and the bottom of the rib cage. Somewhere in that height will be a good mid-level attachment site. Now what we're going to do for this next series of exercises, we have to take these two handles and loop them through one another here so that I can just kind of send that through, push it all the way back down to the anchor, and now I've got one loop. All right, so once I've got my elastic band looped through itself and I'm down to a single handle here, I'll step out to the side so that I'm standing sideways to the anchor. Now from here, once I've got my midline perpendicular to the anchor point, I'm going to extend my arm and cross my midline. From here, I'm going to take my other hand and pull my shoulder blade back against the spine. We're going to call this exercise standing horizontal abduction. And I'm just going to move my hand away from my body across the chest, bringing the other shoulder blade to meet at the spine. Now with control, I'll have that arm come back across the midline without rotating my body. I'm going to try and maintain rigidity in the torso so that the only part of my body moving is that arm. Come across the body, squeeze the shoulder blades together at the spine, and then come back in front across the midline. You're going to do 10 of these, and then we'll switch sides. Okay, so after I've finished 10 reps on that side, I'll switch hands and then I'll turn my body and get set up in the opposite direction. Remember, I'll have that hand go on my hip, get the shoulders back, I'll reach that arm out, and then begin pulling across my body to have the other shoulder blade meet at the spine. All right, so for our next exercise at our mid-level attachment, we're going to work external rotation into a punch. So I'm going to step out to the side and get set up in the same position as my horizontal abduction. I'll have my hand on the hip, both shoulder blades back, and now this time I'm going to make sure that I take my right elbow and tuck it in against my body once my shoulders are back. Now I'll externally rotate that arm until it's perpendicular with my upper body, and now I'm ready to go. I'll make my core turn on, get my spine set straight, and then on an exhale, I'll push out in front of me. I'm going to bring that arm right back to where it started from, squeeze both shoulder blades back, exhale and punch out. Inhale, coming back, exhale, punch out. And you'll feel on this, it's going to want to tug your arm this way, but you'll be really fighting to keep it at the position where your shoulder is. So we're going to do 10 of these on each side. Once I finish 10 on this side, I'm just going to switch my hands and then I'll turn my body into the opposite direction. Make sure to get that shoulder blade back against the spine and tuck that elbow in against my body. And then from there, I'll exhale and punch out. Do 10 reps on this side and then finish. So for our next metabolic interrupt, we're going to work one that I call forward and back hops. So like the other one, we're going to begin by standing on one leg. So I'll bring my right leg off the floor, standing on my left. Now from here, I'm going to start by having the image that both feet are on train tracks. So when I take my right leg away and I hop forward, I'm going to land with that right foot in that position it would be on if it was in the train track. And then I'll come back and land on that left foot. Forward hop, land on the right, back hop, land on the left, And we're gonna stay on that same side for 20 seconds. Hop forward, hop back, keeping the core tight, keeping a soft bend on the knee, whether I'm coming backward or forward. When I get to 20 seconds, I'll switch legs. I'll lift my other leg up, keep it on that train track. I'll hop forward, and then I'll hop back. Forward, back. Keeping that same stability in the core and at the foot. Now, if 20 seconds on each foot in each direction feels like it could be a little bit more, you could take this up to 30 seconds or even 40 seconds on each side. Okay, so here we've changed our attachment now to our low setting, and our low setting will be somewhere around between the top of the sock line and the bottom of the knee. Somewhere in that mid-shin area will be the adequate height for our low attachment. And then we're back to our kneeling pad here. So I'm gonna face myself away from my anchor here as I come down to my kneeling pad and grab one handle in each hand, facing away and getting into a tall spine position. Now you can see here I've got my palms open and I'm letting my shoulder blades meet at the spine with a soft tug of resistance from the elastic band. Now we call this next exercise a scoop. Once I got my core tight, I'm gonna exhale and scoop my arms up in front of my chest. I'll inhale as I return to starting position with shoulder blades meeting at the spine. Exhale, scoop the arms forward to face level, and you're gonna do 10 reps of those in a row. Bringing the hands to meet, right at chest level. We don't wanna move too high with this. Stay at about chest to chin level with these. Don't come up to face level. Now, if you find that this exercise can increase in difficulty for you, then when we complete a rep and we have both arms out in front, we can hold that and then work into an alternating pattern with this one, where one arm stays out in front and the other arm will go through the repetition range and then alternate. So if we're doing both arms together here, we're gonna do 10 and then stop. If we bring both up and then work one arm at a time, we're gonna do 10 on each arm and then stop. Okay, so we're onto our next exercise now from our low attachment setting, and we're gonna get into a half kneel position here. Half kneel for this one is gonna be the inside knee to the anchor point will be the down leg. So if my left hip is facing the anchor, then my left knee will be the downside. Here I'm gonna grab both handles in my left hand and wrap my right hand over the top. I'll start from down in front of the hip, that's the down leg, get my spine nice and tall, shoulders back. We're gonna perform a low to high chop for 10 reps. So I'm gonna exhale as I chop up and then rotate back down to starting position with control. Up, chop, back to starting position with control for 10 reps. Exhale as you take the cord up and over that opposite shoulder. Inhale, return to starting position. Make sure to follow your hands with your torso. So you watch your hands as you rotate and take your head and your eyes along with the rest of your body on that rotation. Returning to starting position with control. Now once I've completed 10 reps, I'm gonna switch direction. So I'll just come up, I'll switch my hands so that my right hand holds both handles, and then I'll turn and bring my right knee down to the mat and get set up to begin opposite way. All right, so for our next metabolic interrupt, we got our continuous loop and we've put it across the wrists. Now from here, I'm gonna come down into push-up position. So get my hands flat out in front at about shoulder width distance, and I'll take my knees off the ground and make stability with my core. Once I'm in position and I feel like I'm locked in pretty good with my spine, I'm gonna take my left hand, I'm gonna move now in 3 separate directions. I'm gonna take my left hand and put it up and bring it back. And then out to the side and bring it back, and then I'll take it back and bring it back. Now I'll do the same thing with my right arm. I'll move forward, touch it down, bring it back to starting position, out to the side, back to starting position, and then I'll come back to starting position. Once I've done all 3 directions on each hand, I'll do 3 times, left, right, and then after I've done all 3 directions, 3 times each side, you're finished. So thanks for joining us for your workout today. Hope you enjoyed your in-home total body work. Be sure to let us know what you'd like to see in upcoming videos and stay tuned for more content coming your way.